The mics are live too.
I look on Brad Holmes' face. It's like, that's a stupid question. That's my favorite.
You like that?
You like that? Because he's like, I'm the captain now.
I'm getting better.
Yeah, you are.
I'm done. Look at that. We got West Coast out and in. Should I take the other West Coast out?
Nah, you're doing good. West Coast is fine.
Yeah, it's that time.
You like that?
Yeah, this is how we do it on Monday night right there.
Love the new intro.
You know what I love? Because I get to give the real intro right here because during the week, I'm just messing around a little bit. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main stage. He is the master of disaster, the king of sting, and the count of Monte Frisco. And he is the guy that will greet you at the door at the Golden Corral. Main event, Mike.
What an intro by the Maestro Russell Wayne. Welcome, everyone, to NFC North Open Mic. We will be representing all four fan bases in the NFC North today, and we'll be talking some smack. We'll do some in-depth football analysis with myself, the Maestro Russell Wayne, and our good friend West Coast Statmaster Greg Rice out on the West Coast. All Detroit Lions fans, don't worry, we will get some Bears and Vikings and Packer fans in here soon. If not, we'll just run all three through the mud until they show up to defend them. So with the Detroit Lions being the odds-on favorite to win the NFC North, it is no surprise that this room is dominated by Detroit Lions fans today, because if you go around and look at any of the groups out on social media regarding this division, you will see the Detroit Lions fans puffing out their chests, beating on their chest, screaming it from the highest top, and everyone in the comments from the other fan bases, the same response. Shut up until you win something. You have won nothing. Your franchise has been crap for 60 years. Why are you guys still talking? And then wise men like Russell Wayne and Greg Rice come into the comments and they make very wise comments like, wow, you're right. Your team used to be really good. But right now you're scared because you know what Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell are cooking here in Detroit is something special, and it is on the horizon for us. The Bleacher Report today released the top 5 worst defenses projected for 2023. The Detroit Lions were not on that list.
What?
However, 2 teams from the NFC North were on that list. We'll kick it over to you, Greg Rice. Minnesota and Chicago on the list, projected to have bottom 5 defenses in 2023. We'll start with Chicago. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, just to be blatantly obvious, I mean, they're still lacking a pass rush there. They did as much improvement as they could, But unfortunately, top end pass rushers, there wasn't much on the market this year, and it doesn't look like they're going to make any sort of run on overpaying for some of these leftovers, these journeymen out there. Now, there's still a couple good names out there, so it'll be interesting to see. Maybe this is a camp evaluation, see if they need one of those names. But it's quite possible Chicago could be rolling with who they got. Look, they got a great linebacker core. All my Bears fans, all my friends that are Bears fans call it linebacker university. I get that. The game has evolutionized. This is no longer 1983 or 1985 per se. This is 2023. A good linebacker core is great, but it usually is the back end. Well, logically, is the back end piece to a good pass rush, or at least a decent pass rush. I just don't see it in Chicago. So we'll see.
Russell Wayne, what do you think about that? Chicago bottom 5 in 2023. Do you see that being accurate?
I mean, they weren't very good last year. They made some improvements to their starting core. They still lack a lot of depth and a lot of spots on there. So, I mean, I think it could be accurate. I think they could definitely outperform it.
Right.
Because they did make good improvements there, but I don't know if they made enough to really, think their defense is going to be like good.
Yeah, I like that call out about depth, though. Chicago Bears do have a few nice pieces on defense now, but there's no one behind those guys, right? So, I mean, Are they going to regret not taking Jalen Carter when they could have to bolster this defense? If he becomes a generational player like an Aaron Donald or like a Patrick Mahomes, who they could have had, but they took Mitch Trubisky instead. Is this pick of Darnell Wright going to turn out to be like Mitch Trubisky when you could have had Jalen Carter? That will be very interesting to see 5 years from now what kind of impact this last draft had on the Chicago Bears franchise. I did like Darnell Wright at first on this pick for them, but I really think they should have addressed this defense a little bit more, or gotten, the better tackles were already taken. I mean, the kid from Ohio went to the Cardinals at number 6. That's the guy I definitely thought, Paris Johnson, that would be a great fit for the Chicago team. But they stuck to the plan, and they took a tackle, and now they have no pass rush going into 2023. The one guy had 4 sacks. That was it for the year. From Chicago last year, they were the lowest in the league in sacks, and they were the highest in the league in sacks allowed. So it had to be D-line or O-line. They chose O-line, and as a result, the Bleacher Report now has them picked in the bottom 5 for 2023. The other team there from the North that's in that bottom 5 is the Minnesota Vikings. And we'll start with Russell. And Russ, did you want to say something on the Bears?
I did, because I just threw this up there because we were talking about the Bears. And Andrew from NFC North The Huddle, if you haven't joined that group, you should do that. It's great for trash talking. Says Jordan Love just declared Bears fans his daddy. So there's a lot of confidence running through the Green Bay Packers. I didn't mean to pivot on your Minnesota Viking trip right there, but what do you think of all this confidence coming out of the Packer squads? John Dorn. And
Well, John Dorn puts there in the comments that actually he was wishing the French Bears team in France a happy Father's Day because Love, Fields, and Deshaun Watson are there for quarterback camp. So John Dorn coming to the rescue there of his Packers, and something that Jordan Love said being taken out of context. I think that's a non-issue.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to throw that in there and throw a shout out to that. And they do have a good They have a good comment right here from William Lindahl. He's a
Vikings.
You remember having him on the show, right?
Yeah.
We interviewed him last year. I want to throw his comment up there because this one's fun too.
If you haven't already, go over and follow us at Detroit Lions Villain Squad. That's our group. Follow us, the Mane Event 365 on Facebook. Go over to our YouTube at Mane Event 365. Support our content. We really need the help.
So Christian Watson wouldn't be a starter on any other NFC North team. Hate to break it to you, Pack. That's what William says.
What do you think of that comment, Greg?
I'm just going to throw this out there, and Lions fans are going to eat me alive. I would trade Jameson Williams for Christian Watson right now.
Wow. I agree.
Oh,
I agree.
Man.
I don't know why anybody would hate on this kid. This kid's showing superstar potential to me. He's looking like a great draft pick. I underestimated him coming out of college because of the college he went to and who he had throwing the ball to him and the whole system there. But man, we knew he had the physical tools. I definitely like Christian Watson. He's an explosive young receiver, and I don't agree with that take by William at all.
Yeah.
William's my bud, though.
But throw it in the comments, man. We're here to argue. We're here to make bad takes because, I mean, pretty much, why is it the bad take? Because we represent all four NFC North teams here. And it's just, anytime anything comes out of our mouth, you can just guarantee that 75% of the people that are listening are going to think that I'm full of crap. So we can just kind of go with it right there. Don't make me come on there and school you, Greg.
Bring it. I'm ready.
The anonymous
So I'm
Facebook
going to go
user.
ahead and throw the link into all of the chats right there. It's going up. It's going up. Boom, 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 boom. So you are more than welcome to come on to the show and argue with us.
I don't know about argue. Let's just say debate. Not in an argumentative type of mood.
Yeah, but it's June.
Kidding, Russ.
It's June. If you're one of the
Such a
people
beautiful
watching
day.
right now, you're like a really, really good football fan, and we appreciate you for tuning in to NFC North Open Mic.
This is the NFC North Open Mic where we argue here. We do talk trash here. You better have some thick skin, or you're going to get your feelings hurt in this. Like that. So
True.
Let's hear about your team. Now, the Minnesota Vikings are also projected to be in the bottom 5 of 2023. And Greg, I want to get your thoughts on that. They were a 13-win team last year. They won the division by a mile, and yet coming into this year, the outlook is not so optimistic for the Minnesota Vikings and that defense being projected to be at the bottom. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, you just take a look at it personnel-wise from last year to this year. And, I've had a conversation, shout out to Jamez, about Vikings fans just kind of writing off losing starting talent, even for that matter. And the fact that you think that you can essentially get rid of your starters, your stars and everything, and essentially get better somehow. If anything, you stay plateaued. And I don't even see that being the situation. Look, a lot of this is predicated on whether Danielle Hunter stays with the Vikings or not. The kid is an amazing. Put up a little graphic for him being a top 10 edge defender in the NFC conference. And I agree with that. Look, man, there was a few years with Detroit where he was just wrecking us. And, you've seen the stats on the kid. The young man does it all. He's a great run defender, great pass rusher, generates turnovers. He's a good player. So if he's able to stay, I think Brian Flores will be able to salvage the situation with some exotic blitz packages and such, something he's known for. If they get rid of him, though, and they're essentially leaning on Marcus Davenport and DJ Wanu, I think is his last name, Wanu, it's all bad. I think right now, personally, it's deviating a little off topic. Sorry, Mike. I think Minnesota's goal right now is just to keep butts in the seats by keeping JJ happy. I wouldn't doubt if they got a contract done for him even this season at some point. That offense is still going to be good, but that defense, my God, what do you do?
Right. Ranked at the bottom last year, projected to be ranked at the bottom again this year, and they did virtually nothing in the offseason to help it. Byron Murphy comes in as a solid corner, but essentially he just replaces Patrick Peterson, who you let go. Eddie Kendricks. Now, if you lose Danielle Hunter, because you're losing Dalvin Cook on offense, and I know the Vikings fans like to play that off. They do have a great offense with Hawkinson, JJ, Kirk Cousins is a solid quarterback, Alexander Madison, a serviceable running back. But when you lose Dalvin Cook, you're not getting better. Okay, you're not. And your defense got considerably worse. And like you said, Greg, Brian Flores is known to be a blitz guru, right? He loves to design blitzes, and he blitzes more than any other coach. Last two seasons in Miami, his teams led the league in blitz. So, and blitz is what you do when you are thin on talent. So it's a good fit. Maybe the whole thing was maybe he's not Quezzy after all. He knew he was going to be thin on talent. So how do you beat a thin roster on defense? You come up with blitz packages and use the element of surprise to try to gain an edge on the field. So Brian Flores is the perfect guy for this. He might be able to keep them out of the bottom 5, but certainly they're not going to be anywhere near the top half in the league in defense. He would deserve some sort of recognition if he's able to squeeze that out of the roster. What do you think about Minnesota there, Russ?
I mean, think they're going to be the worst team in the division. I think they've lost way too much. I mean, you're way underselling the loss of Dalvin
Yeah.
Cook. I mean, they were putting 8 in the box constantly for him, and now they're going to be able to direct the defense to guard other guys, because I don't think anyone's throwing 8 in the box for Alexander Madison. So, but I do want to just pivot right here, right to this Facebook user asking a question we want to throw around to Greg first. What are your guys' expectations for Andre Booth and Lewis Cine, their young cornerbacks?
Well, yeah,
Okay.
Lewis Cine is a safety. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Greg.
Well, Andrew Booth, look, you guys, he played really poorly last year. His rookie season got a higher snap count, but it was very similar in terms of ranking to Jeff Okudah's. That's how bad he was for Lions fans, to get an idea of how bad Andrew Booth was last year. Lewis Cine was a prospect I was looking in last year's draft, who's someone that could maybe step in and come into the Lions. I haven't sold out. We all seen the injury last year, horrible compound fracture. Allegedly, he's bouncing back well from that. They're going to need both those guys. There's just no way around that. They're going to need key contributions from last year's rookies and sophomores now to come in and at least play serviceable or decent or even below average at this point. The defense is just hurting. You look up and down. Their star power is now Harrison Smith. He's older. How much longer can he keep it going? His play was obviously declining last year, but he is a leader on this team, a vocal leader. I don't know. I expect both those guys to come in and get starting gigs and contribute as much as they can. How well they contribute is yet to be seen.
Yet to be seen. There, I see what you did there, Greg. I see what you did there. Because Lewis Cine has not seen the field. Okay, so he's essentially going to be a rookie coming in. And honestly, yep. I wish this young man very well. He had a rocky start to his NFL career. I can't wait for him to get back on the field so Jameson Williams can start to burn him like he did in college, torched him every time he played. So, yeah, Minnesota Vikings come to Detroit on week 18. We go to Minnesota week 16. By that time, Jameson Williams will be up and running and roaring and ready to torch Lewis Cine again. That's my expectation for Lewis Cine, to get torched by Jameson Williams in week 16 and 18. Now, for Andrew Booth, I do expect an improvement from Andrew Booth. Yes, he had a few rough spots, but you know what? He was a rookie and he played and he showed up every day and he played hard. And from what the coaches say out of there, he takes coaching well. So all of these kids got the physical tools. It's all upstairs. And from what I've seen so far, I think Andrew Booth has a promising NFL career, and he's going to be a very solid piece over there in Minnesota for the next 10 years. But I don't see how they can overcome the loss of Eddie Kendricks. I don't see how they can overcome the loss of Dalvin Cook. They have so many losses and so many holes, and the defense was not addressed with their first round pick. Instead, they went wide receiver, where they have the best wide receiver in the league. So I think that pick was questionable at best. Now, a team we haven't talked about at all, the Green Bay Packers.
Can I keep going with the comments here? Or do you want to move on with that? Because for one, I wanted to make a comment on Andre Booth and Lewis Cine from
Andrew Booth.
What?
Andrew Booth.
What did I say?
Andre twice.
Oh, did I say Andre Booth? Okay.
I love main event, Mike.
Okay. Who's count?
Booth and Cine. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Does that work? Better? Okay.
Yeah.
Booth and Cine are the two guys that may make me eat my words, because Brian Flores is an excellent defensive coordinator, and I think that he can coach those guys, and there's a couple of talented guys that they drafted last year. But I wanted to say that John Dorn's in there saying that the Minnesota Vikings were the worst 13-win team in NFL history.
Agreed.
Mike the Bear fan chimes in and says the Vikings will finish worst in the division this year. Hey
John, hey Mike.
Booth and Cine are both busts. John, you think everybody is a bust. And then we're going into a Lions question here, which I think that you guys are going to love right here, is which one of these running backs do you think could have the best season that we have?
Wow, that's a really good question. Greg Rice, David Montgomery, or Jahmyr Gibbs, who has a bigger season?
I think David Montgomery, I got to give the leg up to the veteran. They really like him here in Detroit. This coaching staff, Brad Holmes, I mean, it wasn't a minute past the deadline before he picked up that phone and just signed that young man. This guy's going to be playing behind a great offensive line. This is not a knock on Jahmyr Gibbs. Look, I like him. Wasn't a big fan of him, but pick a 12. I've made that clear already. But I think this kid can come in and contribute. I don't look at Gibbs as a gimmick guy. I look at Gibbs as truly a gadget guy. Someone that's going to come in, and especially while JMO's out, he's probably going to see a lot of snaps all over the field, spread out in the backfield, out in the slot. And we need that, obviously, without JMO for these first 6 games. I've spoken to both you gentlemen about it. These first 4 games are pretty brutal for us Lions, man. I'm hoping we can just get out 2-2, but I do expect Montgomery to take the lead on this and Gibbs to kind of pick up from the savvy vet.
Well, to break the question down for me, which do I expect to have the best season? I think that is kind of a subjective thing. I think it's going to be Jahmyr Gibbs. And the reason is because he's going to figure into the passing game more. And because it's his rookie season, it's going to be looked at as better. Because David Montgomery is a veteran and we know what he brings to the table. And let's face it, he's getting $6 million a year. They're going to give him his carries for $6 million a year. Believe that. Yep. Okay, but in terms of what looks like a better season, if David Montgomery gets 1,000 yards, is that better than Jahmyr Gibbs getting 14 touchdowns? I don't think so. Not to me. Not in this offense. Because David Montgomery is going to be the first down carry that gets 5 yards. Jahmyr Gibbs breaks 1 tackle, and you're seeing the back of his jersey, and that's it. So I think it's a very subjective thing on who's going to have the best season, but I think it's going to be Jahmyr Gibbs that gets the headline-grabbing season as opposed to David Montgomery, who's going to be a workman, right? He's going to be our bell cow in a way where it doesn't look sexy. Right? It doesn't, you don't get the big highlight. The chicks love dig the long ball, and a 4-yard carry up the middle is not the long ball. That's the dirty work. And that essentially will be a better season, but I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to really be an incredible player for the Detroit Lions.
Good point.
I love the Jahmyr Gibbs pick more and more when you look at the game-breaking speed. And I really want to piggyback off of what Mike was just saying right there about Gibbs. He's going to get 8 to 10 catches a game. I mean, he's going to be it's going to be touches from the slot, touches from the outside, the inside. They're going to line him up there with Montgomery in the backfield. And he may get 5-7 carries from the backfield, Jahmyr Gibbs, but and Montgomery is going to get 15 to 20 like a bell can I talk today? Bell cow back. I mean, it looks like they're setting up the same type of offense that with Ingram and Kamara that they're installing that here.
Exactly. And Mark Ingram, even though Kamara got all the headlines, it was Mark Ingram that had more yards.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Rushing. Good point. It was more rushing yards.
And as far as the fantasy football thing goes here, someone made a comment. Yeah. If you're in a PPR league, go nab you up some Gibbs. Just go ahead because you're going to gobble up them 1 point per reception. So,
and in Green Bay Packer news, I did want to get something for the Packer fans in here. In Green Bay Packer news, I saw Bill the Packer fan had posted that Justin Jefferson got a Father's Day card for Jair Alexander.
I love it. Hit him with the gritty.
Oh, that was a good troll job right there. You get troll job of the week right there. Right now, we are streaming live into the Detroit Lions Villain Squad, the NFC North Mane Event. Going to the Bear Fan Mike. You got to go to Mike the Bear Fan if you're a Bear fan. Go follow that page. Good content. Bill the Packer Fan if you're into green cheese and stuff like that. Go follow that page right there. And thank you to the Detroit Lions News for allowing us to stream onto your page right here because we love having content 24/7 about football. And you guys are the hardcore fans. Thank you.
The Viking fans are all in witness protection right now. We can't
I forgot to mention them, did I? Oh,
yeah.
Oh, wait, they won the division.
But there are 10,000 lakes in Minnesota, so maybe they're all out on a kayak somewhere. I don't know.
Probably. John Dorn says Sutton is a one-hit wonder. Mosley's garbage. Okay, I think they're arguing in there. Let's hit that. What you're talking about with Bill.
What's that? That Jair Alexander got a Father's Day card.
He got a Father's Day card. I think Kirby Joseph sent one to Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
No, he received one. He received one from Aaron
yes.
Rodgers.
I saw the one that had him on the on his shoulders. That one was a really, really good one too. So
right.
Tom Novans.
Oh, Tom.
Here, let me throw his post up there because we're just having some fun right here. So he says, "This is the Packer fans. Would you clown them on their own posts?"
Yeah. Fun fact: only one player has been ejected from the game twice in the same season. One Quay Walker. That's
amazing,
that's
man.
In the history of the league, folks.
Can you believe that, you guys?
Yeah, I can.
It sounds like if you remember Happy Gilmore, he's like, "Hey man, one time I took my skate off and tried to stab somebody with it. I'm the only guy that ever did that." Oh gosh. Anyway.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen the leaked audio from that Quay Walker tunnel, I encourage you to go over to our YouTube and just type in search Quay Walker, and you'll see where we were able to get the footage of the audio of the hot mic that was in the tunnel that night, week 18 last year. What a crazy week 18 was, right? There were so many things that happened in week 18 of the 2022 NFL season. Obviously, as Lions fans, we're hanging a banner this year over that win. So, obviously, keeping the Packers out of the playoffs was huge for our franchise.
Playoffs
progress, and we also ran the boogeyman out of town. Aaron Rodgers, after that, his last pass as a Packer was an interception, and that's just things of beauty. But with that being said, the Detroit Lions are poised and they're ready to go. And anybody who doesn't think so hasn't been paying attention.
You've had enough of that shit.
Agreed wholeheartedly.
It's all about the physical dominance, man. I don't think that there is a defensive line that's in the North that's going to be able to stand up to our elite offensive line. You can say what you want about Goff. You can say what you want about the Sun God.
By the power of Ra.
You know that it's coming.
Will you play that new drop again?
By the power of Ra.
Nice.
By the power of Ra. Do you remember? You know what that's from?
No.
Oh,
Prince of Persia.
Now that was a suggestion by Barry, our Green Bay Packer fan from Scotland. He sent me that. So
it's a movie based on the video game Prince of Persia.
Yeah, I played the video games. Love the video games. I haven't seen the movie actually.
That's what every time you grab the knife in the game, that's what it says. Play it.
By the power of Ra.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, guys. Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. So we got snubbed as a Detroit Lions fans. Let's complain right here because I know that they'll all make fun of us for whining. But we only got 2 players in the top 100. Does that bother you, Greg Rice?
Not at all. I don't look, man. I mean, I'll just be honest and upfront with you guys. I've seen debatably the greatest running back in history. I've seen arguably a top 5, top 10 wide receiver. None of those personal accolades. I watched Stafford throw for 5,000 yards none of that stuff matters to me. I don't care. I try. I do my best. Look, I do my own player grades and everything. But as far as like measuring elite or I'm not. I just want to see a winning team. And it looks like we put all the ingredients together, be them from just decent or mid players to great players on the roster. And I'm absolutely okay with that. At this point, as Lions fans, like I said, we've seen accolades from skill positions, from quarterbacks, everything under the sun, and it's led to nothing. At this point, Russ, I just want to win. Let the NFL players let them have their vote of who's greatest, yada yada yada. That's fine. Just get us some wins, get us a divisional title playoff game. That's all I want.
Well, I think we got snubbed.
I'm proud of you, Greg Rice.
I think we got snubbed. I went to the Jameson Williams Casino and Sportsbook app, and the Lions were 2.5 to make top 100, and they only made 2, so I lost my bet there. I took the over. I definitely thought Frank Ragnow was going to be in the top 100. I thought maybe the injury, they were holding that against him is why they would keep him out, because you can't have a conversation about the best center in the league without having Frank Ragnow in the conversation. Obviously, Jason Kelce gets it in the NFC, so that at least puts him 2, right? So I also think that CJ Gardner-Johnson, by virtue of leading the league in interceptions and calling the plays on a Super Bowl defense, he definitely could have made the top 100 too. There was some speculation on the morning show this morning that perhaps because he plays for the Lions, that's why he was then kept off this 100 list. So I think in some regards, we were snubbed. Definitely, you're not going to you're not even going to put a punter on the top 100. But if you did, our punter would make that team too. So everybody go ahead and grill me and roast me for mentioning the punter.
Well, Ken Doby would be proud of you. I mean,
Ken Doby would go on for 5 minutes about punters.
Well, yeah, but about the backup one, because the backup one is so important because you have to have depth at every position. So
we love him though.
But you
come
know
on
what?
Back, Ken.
Come on in, Ken, and actually come on in, anybody right here. I'm gonna go ahead and throw the link right into the chats right now, and I want to go back and hit some of these. There are some of these comments I want to get to here, and my eyes are deceiving me right there. Mike the Bear fan says Monty could be a great fit for the Lions. Gibbs will get his shot, but not this year.
I think that's a fair take. I think it's a solid, fair take. I mean, that could be very true. What do you think of that, Russ?
I don't think so. I think he's going to get – they drafted him at number 12. They're going to give him targets. They're going to run him right through this –
but the Lions have showed that they bring him along slow. That's been their track record with this regime. I think Mike might be hitting it on the nose there, but we'll see.
Right on. I mean, with both of the pass catchers, I mean, that's good. Jose, I was going to say Jose. Come on, Russ. Can you read anything today? Jose says, I hope the Packers go to the playoffs. Being realistic, they have a really good season. Go Pack, go. They could have a good season. I mean, I think most Packer fans would think that Jordan Love is just going to come right in and be good. And I'm to the opinion that if Jordan Love is only good and he's not average or good, that you're only going to win six games this year. You need him to be what your Hall of Fame quarterback was, or you're going to have a drop off. It is that.
Until Monty and Jahmyr Gibbs show what they've got, we have to say that the Green Bay Packers have the best running back room in the division. A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. They have a solid offensive line. They have a very good defense. All of these things play well. Jordan Love has to just not lose the game, and the Packers could actually win this division this year. If Jordan Love just plays average. And I know you don't really subscribe. I know you don't subscribe to that, Russ. Let us hear it.
People love to say because they drafted all these 8 first-round draft picks that they have a really good defense.
They do have a good defense.
Your defense was 21st in the league. You were 26th in the rush category. You couldn't stop the run. You were 14th.
All I said was they were the best in the division. And they were.
Okay, well, that's not saying much. I mean, we were worse than they were, and they were bad.
They could have a good season. They have a good running game and a good defense.
Did you see I brought Detroit Darcy in for like a split second, and then I put him out?
I'm sorry, I don't know who that is.
There he is. Oh, there he's gone. Okay, there we go.
Darcy. Oh Lord.
Hey, I don't mind that he comes on my show. What's up? What's up,
Darcy?
Hey, how's everybody doing? Love you guys. Love the show. I was just watching, and you guys dropped the link. Russell, that is a fucking great idea. I love this. Mike, I love you, brother. What do you got going on, bro?
Well, what have I got going on? I've been traveling a lot for work, and I'm so excited for this Detroit Lions season. That's what I got going up. I can't wait for the Vikings to finish last in the division.
Oh, hey, there's Jamez.
Oh, speaking of last,
there we go.
Start there. What's going on, brothers? What's going on?
The Minnesota Vikings. It's our good friend, Mr. Fox Sports, Jamez himself. Jamez, the Bleacher Report, they had the Minnesota Vikings finishing in the bottom 5 in defense in 2023. And what are your thoughts on that?
Well, shit, the Super Bowl chances ain't went no goddamn dang. They ain't went down. Even with all even with all these moves being happening, the Super Bowl chances are staying at 2.3%, which is behind the Lions. I will say right now. When I look at things like that, though, it just makes me wonder because they got the damn Cowboys at 6.7% right now. I guess they gotta go off of some of last season. I get it, but hey man, it is what it is right now, man. We're about to make it happen. We're not in bottom 5. I'm telling you right now, bottom 5. That means we would be still within. We were 31st last year. That means 26. I'm telling you right now, this defense ain't gonna be worse than 17th or 18th, man. We're at least. I'm telling you.
Okay, I love that prediction. So you got Minnesota finishing in the bottom half of the league in defense, but not as far down as 26 as
I'm thinking somewhere around the middle of the pack.
Okay, well,
all right,
Jamez, and I have never defended the Cowboys in my life, but you kind of laughed at that there. But the Cowboys are a team with won 12 games last year, and they made significant moves in the offseason to make themselves better. Okay, the Minnesota Vikings won 13 games, and they did nothing to make themselves better except create cap room for 2024. So, I mean, don't you think the Cowboys do have a better chance than the Vikings of making the Super Bowl?
No, you want to know why? Because Kirk Cousins is better than Dak Prescott. Kevin O'Connell. I'm not trolling.
Let him finish.
And it's not by far, and I'm not trolling. I got Kevin O'Connell over Mike McCarthy, and this is the thing. Even though we're just creating cap room right now, I believe, and I personally believe this. Now, there's some of these guys on our defense that are going to surprise you, but I believe where we're thin at, which happens to be, I would say, defensive tackle and linebacker right now are the main spots we're thin at. Those are the gaps I expect Brian Flores to fill, man. I expect him to fill the gap in those spaces.
Okay, well, that's a good take. That's a good take. And you're right. I would take Justin Jefferson over CeeDee Lamb. I would take Kirk Cousins over Dak Prescott. I would definitely take Tony Pollard over Alexander Madison. But when you look at the position of Stephon Gilmore, and you've got Micah Parsons, and you've got Trayvon Diggs. I mean, you've got some good players on that.
Marcus Lawrence.
You've got Dan Quinn. You've got Dan Quinn, arguably the best defensive coordinator in the league over there on that side of the ball as well, and a Super Bowl experienced head coach. I definitely like Dallas's chances ahead of Minnesota, and I think you're downplaying that, Jamez. Darcy, what do you think about Minnesota Vikings? They finished last in the division this year?
They very well can be. I see the Minnesota Vikings losing 7 of their goddamn starters. How can we even have this discussion, Jamez?
Agreed.
How can we can't? Why do you still stick with you're going to have such? Because Brian Flores came in the house. Like Brian Flores is not putting on the goddamn pads and the helmet. He's not out there. You have to have fucking talent. I'm sorry.
So defensive coordinators mean nothing. Scheme means nothing. Okay.
Well, I'll tell you, to Darcy's point there, Brian Flores doesn't get out there and make tackles. But if you brought Brian Flores in without losing all the talent that they did on defense, I would be scared of this defense.
Me too.
Patrick Peterson, Eddie Kendricks, these are quality players.
I know, dude. I don't know why you guys keep adding Patrick Peterson to the
Danielle Hunter, Jamez, I want to hear you tell me that if you lose Danielle Hunter, you think you'll still be as high as 18 at the end of the year?
No, he's definitely an impact player. He's one guy I don't want to see go. But guys like Patrick Peterson, Dalvin Thomas, and the only guy we lost on this defense that I really give a damn about was Kendricks, man. I'm gonna be honest to you. I'm gonna be honest with you now. Zadarius Smith, his impact, what he can bring to he can be replaced as well, man. 1 sack in the last 8 games, man. 1. I'm not, and what he brings to the pass game, he has to be accounted for. But dude, other than Eric Kendricks, man, we're not missing Patrick Peterson. That dude, he got burnt in half of the games, man. I'm sorry, he had a high interception. He had about 5 picks, I believe, and that's why his rating is still so high. But man, his coverage has really slipped, man. I'm not going to lie to you guys, man. Byron Murphy is a way better option.
Oh my God,
he is simply
isn't he?
Only by you saying it. That's
way better.
That's the only reason why he is better is by you saying it, because in every statistical PFF metric, Patrick Peterson.
Are you sure about that?
He
Are you
did
sure
get a
about
good
that?
year
Byron
last
Murphy
year.
has a way higher man coverage grade, man. What PFF have you been looking at? Dude, man, Byron Murphy rates in the
I am
90s in
looking
man
at the
coverage, man.
overall. I am looking at the overall
All right.
PFF.
Yeah, Patrick
grade.
Peterson was like top 15 last year.
Go
Byron
ahead,
Murphy,
Russ.
not so much.
Not,
Go ahead,
not,
Russ.
not in pass deflections.
He was
wasn't.
actually better than
not
Sutton.
in man
Hold on,
coverage. He
John.
wasn't.
Hold on, Jamez. Russell Wayne, what do you got there for PFF rankings on Patrick Peterson?
I gotta pull it up. You guys keep.
All right, well, I'm going to introduce our newest panelist. He's the only man that has ever stood out in front of Lambeau Field and said, "Get off my lawn." It is our Packer fan, Mr. John Dorn. How are you, John?
How's it going, man?
Hey, man, good to see you here, and instead of in the groups roasting people. So why don't you roast Darcy? We brought him in here as a sacrificial lamb for you.
Love you, Darcy.
And tell him why the Green Bay Packers are going to dominate the Detroit Lions this year.
Well, for one thing, we pretty much fucking we pretty much that last two games we did ourselves. You guys didn't win that game. We fucking ruined that game for us. Rodgers was horrible in that first game. I mean, freaking horrible that you never fucking seen him play like that before. In the second game, we did it again. We were winning in the fourth quarter, and then fucking Rodgers fucking was being Rodgers.
Yeah,
you know?
we got lucky 3 times in a row. Darcy, tell him, Darcy, that the Detroit Lions are going to sweep them again this year.
There's no chance.
Well.
No chance
We
in
have
hell.
John Dorn in the house.
Cripple fight!
The biggest NFC North slappy. Make sure you subscribe to NFC North The Huddle. He is in there. He is in there daily, and he just looks like, we last year it was all about, we were playing our starters, and then he goes, and then we swept them this year. And his excuses. Well, we won a Rodgers.
We lost that game
We won a
ourselves.
Rodgers.
You guys didn't beat us.
And then he goes, Dan Campbell,
Look
he's
at
a
Goff.
fraud.
Look
Dan
at Goff's
Campbell's a
fucking
fraud.
numbers
Dan
against
Campbell's a
our
fraud.
fucking defense.
And what did Dan Campbell
sucks.
fucking do to you, fucking John
Yes,
Dorn? What did Dan
no.
Campbell do to
Hold
you,
on,
John Dorn?
we have it on
He
record.
pulled
John
down
Dorn
your
saying he
fucking
liked Dan
pants.
Campbell.
And he raped you.
All right.
You
All right,
guys
Now,
know
John, I want to get your perspective on this.
well.
Yeah,
You
like-
John,
can
I
do
want to
that
get your
this year.
perspective on this Bleacher Report come out today that says that the Vikings and the Chicago Bears will finish bottom 5 in defense in 2023. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, definitely. The
You agree?
Vikings actually, I think Vikings actually defense be better than you guys think. Tell you the truth.
Really?
I mean, just because they got younger players. I mean, they have some older players that you get some younger blood in there. You don't know what's going to happen. It's
That's
just
a great
you know,
call out. I think that's what Jamez is saying. You get younger players like Byron Murphy to replace Patrick Peterson.
No,
You
with the
bring in
Bears,
Brian
though,
Flores who can bring the most out of them.
with
So
the
that,
Bears, with the
so-
Bears,
go
they
ahead,
got no
John.
pass rush.
Hold on.
They got no pass rush. I mean,
Okay.
Bears don't get no pass rush right now.
good call. Go
Now,
ahead, Russ.
I found what I was looking for, and I want to show this, and I want to show this because I'm not saying that your cornerback is bad. I'm just saying that Patrick Peterson was better than you thought he was. Right there. That's an 80.7 overall grade in PFF, and that is better than Byron Murphy. But I'm not. But Byron Murphy was good as well. It's
Now
not
put
like,
up Suttons. Now put up Suttons on there. You want a good laugh?
But
One hit wonder.
isn't Byron Murphy a corner and Patrick Peterson a safety, or is Patrick plays?
No, they're both corners.
Okay.
so.
I was actually thinking they should probably
here's
Patrick
Byron
Peterson.
Murphy. So Patrick
Oh,
Peterson
my.
was a better cornerback.
Oh, Jamez, 66.7% rating.
He only played 9 games, man.
But he
Now,
is
that's
a
the
better
guy.
run
That's the guy that's
defender.
going to save it for you, Jamez.
When he plays the whole 17 for Minnesota, bro, that's only 9 game sample size right there if we're going off last year.
And I'll defend Jamez on this. PFF
Okay,
is
fair.
not the end all be all on everything. Okay, but I mean,
Yeah.
Byron Murphy is younger. He is the dynasty play. But Patrick Peterson is like the now better. He's Patrick frickin' Peterson, dude. He's like one of the greatest cornerbacks ever. Like he's awesome.
Yeah, losing him doesn't make it better.
80% of Peterson's better than 100% of
Go ahead,
most of
Darcy.
the guys out there.
Go ahead, Darcy.
Thanks for having me on the show. I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna watch it on my TV. Guys, subscribe. This is the best show on the market. I'm telling you. Other than delusional Jamez, he has some great takes of being delusional. Thanks, guys, for having me on the show. I'm gonna watch.
See you later.
You're welcome. Get
Now,
the hell
Russell,
out of here. All
now,
right.
Russell, put up Sutton's PFF. Put Sutton's PFF up.
All right. You want me to put Sutton's PFF?
Yeah.
Oh, John. Oh,
Hey.
John. We were putting down the Vikings, John. We don't want to unleash your wrath.
I'm just
on us.
saying, hey. I'm just saying, you're gonna.
Sutton's
I'm
pretty
gonna
good.
prove to you that he's a one-hit
Yeah,
wonder.
Sutton's good.
He's pretty good.
Yeah,
He's pretty
Yeah,
good.
you know, go to 2021
It's the
now.
off season, and you're watching the NFC North Open.
The
Mike,
matchups
put your
suck.
comments in. We'll kick it around this panel and see what we can do. Bring your thick skin, though, because you might get your feelings hurt. Right now, we are looking at what are we looking at here, Russ? This is Cam Sutton.
We're
We're
Pretty
looking
good
at-
coverage,
we're-
bro.
Overall,
Okay,
grade
now
on
go
PFF.
to 21.
I don't need to go
2021.
look at earlier years.
Yep, go look at your earlier years.
You know, I'm
Come on,
not
you
worried
don't want to do
about-
it, do you?
You want me to go back to 1967 when the
No, I want to go
when the
back
Green Bay
a year. I'm
Packers
going
won
to show
the
you how
Super Bowl?
he's a one-hit wonder. He had one good year. That's it. And how many years he's been fucking in the league?
Only 4, 5.
Yeah, and this is his best grade he had all
there
in
you
all
go.
5.
He was 61 in
Yeah.
2000. Well, that's not. Yeah, he was. Man, you're really
No,
looking dumb. You're really looking
No,
dumb right
no,
here.
he's a one-hit wonder, man.
68.
His
It
best
wasn't a
year was
one-hit
that year.
wonder. Oh wow, there's his first year, 74. Wow, you
You know,
look
how
really
many
dumb
snaps?
right now.
How many snaps? How many snaps
Hey.
in that game?
Oh my God, are you trying to
He wasn't
cherry
a full
pick
starter at that time. I'm talking the last 2 years he was starters. These are just
overall 74.5? That's a fantastic
Now, how many
PFF
did-
grade. That's in
oh,
2019, 2020, 68.6. That is a good PFF
Oh, yeah.
grade.
What,
His
would he play
worst
3
year-
games? Would he play 3 games or 2 games then?
His worst year was in 2021,
The last 2 years are starters.
which is average. And then
had the
last
starters
year,
back
his
then.
most relevant year, he played out of his mind.
That's why
He's
Jordan
good enough
Love
to
has a
beat
better
Christian
PFF
Watson
than
and
fucking
Romeo
Fields.
Dobbs, I'll tell you that.
I'm gonna tell y'all the truth, man. When I look at PFF, when I'm looking at a corner, I skip past everything else. I go straight to that coverage grade, bro. That tells me a lot. I mean, if it's 68 or above, you're dealing with a damn good corner, man.
Okay.
Well, it's
Good
a
call.
good gauge. You can't.
He's
You
one-
cannot.
Yeah.
But it's like
Yeah, you're right.
some players only play 3-4 games and all of a sudden, boom, they get a really good rate. You know what I mean?
Listen to me, John. Like, and I feel where you're coming from. Okay, maybe with the inconsistencies, but you're not going to do that here. Where you're going to
Sutton only had
cherry
one good
pick.
season.
You're not going to cherry pick
I'm telling
these
you.
stats. He was one of the best cornerbacks out of last year, and
He
the
was-
Lions signed him. And he
was
is on
like- he was
our
like, what,
team. If
25th
he
or
was on your
26th in
team,
fucking out of corners, which ain't bad, but it ain't fucking a shutdown corner.
I didn't
He's a
say
good
he
corner.
didn't say he was a
He's a
shutdown.
good corner.
Nobody said shut down.
What you expect him? He's a
Dorn, you have to be quiet for a minute because all you do is talk and talk and talk over people. You don't listen to what anybody says at all. And I have the mute button so you can shut up for a second. Sutton was a good cornerback. I just proved to you by your metric that you asked me to bring up. You look stupid right now. You can't justify it with any type of, he only played good on this game. I'm not going to go into this stat and cherry pick for you the fact that Sutton is a good cornerback. He was a good cornerback. Jamez would acknowledge that he's a good cornerback. Nobody said he was a shutdown cornerback. You just said he was garbage. I just proved that you were wrong. You may speak.
I'm just
That was
saying.
anticlimactic.
I'm just saying.
And you got to think,
only
John.
had one
You got to
good
think,
year.
John. Doing when you say the words.
Dig deeper. You only had one good year as a starter.
Well, okay. So
John,
you-
John,
2017, John, the guy's coming into his prime
John.
now. And we
What,
got
4 or
him. He's
5 years
getting
in the
paid
fucking
for
league?
good.
John,
Jim, that's what were you gonna
we
say?
just
Well, let's
showed
get
you
Jim Eswan here.
data. We just showed you data, John, that he had 3 good years. Okay, stop. Don't do it. Don't do that. This is the fan base out there. They're looking to all 17 of them. You can't lie to him, John, just because you hate him.
Go ahead, Jamez.
All I'm gonna say is, man, we gotta think now, John. Now, if his last year was the 2021 year, I will give you this a little bit. But I think the last man, we all know, man, you're only as good as your last year in this league, man. We all know that. Even though even though it is nice to look at the sample size. And another thing we gotta keep in mind, man, when you're out there playing, we're talking about these defensive players, man. There's not just one out there. There's 11 guys out there, man. It's how good can your defense be with these guys collectively? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And to Dorn's credit here, that like we're not he isn't Jalen Ramsey, guys. We're not.
Yeah, that shutdown.
He's just
in the group. Everything you guys act like he's one of the best corners in our fucking league.
He's good at coverage. He was one of the best coverage cornerbacks in the league.
And another thing I like about him, he's actually versatile. You can use him in different spots. That's what's nice about him too.
But he's only 5
I did my homework on him.
That's the bad thing about him. God, if you
no,
put
you
the
guys
heart
are just hoping that he plays a good like he did in the Steelers. You're hoping.
Well, that's the one good thing about C.J. Gardner-Johnson. You can put that motherfucker in the slot and put him at safety.
Gardner, I like him.
You say the same thing about Brian Branch.
I can't say anything
Brian Branch.
And then there's Mosley too. I like
Mosley.
The Mosley.
I don't like that guy. He's injured prone. He's worse than Kuda, I'll tell you the truth. You know?
So just so you know, people that are listening, Mosley was injured once, and he's recovering from that one injury.
He's been injured all 3 years he was in.
Was it an MCL or ACL that he tore?
He tore his ACL. He worked his way up from the practice squad, and he was about to get a $16 million contract, but he could play it out of his mind for the first 3 years for an undersized guy. Owned DK Metcalf in that entire exchange.
He had a good in the playoffs. He played good, and that's about it.
It was an ACL, which, as you know, stands for automatically could be a lion.
Yes. Yes.
So, Emmanuel Mosley, it is going to be interesting to see that he was up for $16 million a year.
Yeah.
So if we can get that kind of production from him, I mean, it could go either way. But like John Dorn says, you know, he has had some injuries. But again, this is Brad Holmes hedging his bets. And so far, he's been right. And Josh Paschal, in my opinion, this year is going to be a very big testament to whether or not his gambling is paying off in those respects. So,
yeah, but they don't have to Dorn. What Dorn's bringing up here is we don't have the 6'2" alpha guy that can like cover the really good X's. Like all of our guys are very undersized. They're all overachieving blue chippers, but they're all not physical dudes that can stand up to a 6'4" wide receiver. You know,
did you guys see that light blinking in my room? Did you see that light blink like that?
Is that
John Dorn? Do you have a Ouija board in front of you?
But you guys got good safeties that can help cover too. So in the back, like where Packers don't have that good safeties.
We got depth. We got a lot of guys that are just good, like really, really good. As far as the high end guys,
you got to think when you think shutdown corner, man. Them guys, the shutdown corner, that's a term that a lot of guys throw out there, but that's hard to find, man. There's probably only a few in the league. I'd give Jair that title. I'd say Jalen Ramsey. Sauce Gardner seems to be coming into that form, but bro, there's not many teams that just have a shutdown corner to the point where you can say, hey, I'm putting you on the best receiver and I want you to completely take him out of the game. There's not many guys that can do that, man.
Right. You look at Trayvon Diggs, a lot of people might say that, but he actually isn't a really good shutdown corner. He gets a lot of interceptions, but he gets beat. He just has great makeup speed and things like that to get to a makeup point. But now they have Stephon Gilmore, who is a great corner. So he is a down corner. So they're going to be really tough to throw against. How about Xavier Howard and Jalen Ramsey out there in Miami? That's going to be a hell of a duo out there on the corners as well.
Ooh, yeah.
They're building a team. If they get Cook, even oh my God, that's gonna be a team.
If they signed Dalvin Cook, they really got some shit rolling. I'm telling you,
I think even without Dalvin Cook, they're already going to be a force this year.
Yeah,
and I'll tell you why. 2 words: Vic Fangio taking over the defense in Miami, going to make a huge difference out there. And then you add guys like Jalen Ramsey.
That's a good call, Mike.
I forgot about that.
I heard the rumors about you guys maybe getting Chase and the receiver Diggs from the Bills.
Yeah, no way we get Stephon Diggs. No way.
You got that.
Yeah, that's a real hefty price
I
there.
put up an article about us getting that wide receiver from New England. What was his name?
N'Keal Harry.
Yeah.
Ass.
Hey, well, I mean, but
He's
it's
a
out
bust.
there.
He
It's
can
out
block.
there.
He can block.
He
He's
had
gonna be a
one
big
great
gamble.
catch
If you get
in
him
college.
cheap,
He had one
You
great
could get him
catch.
for $150. You know, I mean,
if you get paid,
that's
for a steal.
but we don't got to do that no more. The roster. I mean, that's good for a team that's like rebuilding a roster, ripping it to the studs. You know,
Yeah.
like the Vikings on the defense. I mean, you guys got to do that a lot.
Look at James Jefferson.
No, I'm worried about that offense. You guys, I mean, that is a high-powered offense. Even though they don't have Dalvin Cook, they still have a good offensive line there. Darrisaw anchoring, so I think that you could have a three-headed monster.
What
You got
Vikings
two good
need to
tight
do-
ends. You got two good tight ends. You got a good wide receiver, the best wide receiver in the league. To pair with,
I would call Kirk Cousins a good quarterback. He's a good quarterback. He doesn't throw a lot of interceptions. He takes care of the ball. He's a good quarterback. You can win with Kirk Cousins. I believe that.
And I won't even argue him being the best quarterback in the North, because I think that they are neck and neck, and it's 1A, 1B.
They are.
But if you want to say that Kirk's the best, I can. I'm okay.
I also throw guys like Jimmy. Even though I think they're better than those guys, I also put guys like Jimmy G, Derek Carr. I put all those guys in the same kind of stratosphere, man. The guys they're good enough. They're not going to just lose the game for you, but if they don't have the pieces around them, you're not going too far.
You sound them too short.
When the season's all done,
both better than Garoppolo.
When the season's all done, Jordan Love's gonna be the best in the fucking division.
Well, we expect you to say that, brother. You have a big old picture of him right behind you. So you're going to say that.
I love that confidence right there, though. I mean, really.
You got to. Yeah,
that's what you got to do here on NFC North Open Mic. Put your balls out there. Don't be coming with this wishy-washy crap.
Right.
We may make fun of John Dorn or whatever, but at least he comes on here and he puts his take out there.
He stands by it. Absolutely.
You little keyboard tough guys out there.
Yeah.
Show your fucking faces.
Show your faces.
I even put a post on.
We call those
so we can all three just gang up on the Bear fan. We need to get one in here so we can gang up on it.
We got Barry from Scotland, the Packer fan, and I wanted you to know, because you had told me that I needed to go get the power of Ra. I got this for you, Barry. I hope that you're still listening.
By the power of Ra. By the power of Ra.
It's Amon-Ra St. Brown. Every time he scores a touchdown, we're throwing.
By the power of Ra.
It's going to be a forever. That's going to be a. It's going to be.
And every time Jordan Love scores, it's going to be the Jay Giles band. Love sticks.
Man, that'd be a lot. You can be hearing that song a lot.
My God.
Especially against the Vikings. You're going to hear about 6 of them in that game.
Man, that dude, he'd be lucky. That dude would be lucky to get 20 touchdowns total this year.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find a good comment. It says, I heard more.
Jordan Love, you might get off that train real quick.
Good one right there. Thank you, Roy. Roy says, I heard that Mosley and Sutton were college teammates. That is correct.
Yeah.
They played at Tennessee together.
That's true.
Now they're going to fail together.
There's a lot of familiarity. There's a lot of familiarity on this Detroit Lions defense. I think it's part of the chemistry building process that Brad Holmes believes in. You got C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Alex Anzalone went to the same college. Cam Sutton and Manuel Mosley went to the same college. You've got Sam Laporta now and Jack Campbell, same college. Jahmyr Gibbs and Jamison Williams. All this familiarity. I just think it's awesome how they're doing that. They're staying predominantly in Power 5 conferences to pull their talent from SEC and Big Ten predominantly, the 2 strongest conferences. That's what the Lions are building. I mean, that's not necessarily a formula for success, but I sure like the familiarity of it, and I think that's a good call by Roy.
And even though it isn't too unfamiliar to see brothers in the league now, man, you guys got 2 brothers on the same team, man. Do you think both the Okoro brothers? You think they're both about to make the roster, man?
It's going to be tough for Julian to make it. I think Romeo definitely has a better shot of the 2. But we got a lot of good pass rushers, so it's going to be tough to make this roster as a pass rusher. Maybe they keep a couple extra pass rushers as opposed to other positions like last year.
I think either of the Accor brothers could be a nice piece of a trade to send some talent back. Maybe if you're trying to trade for Chase Young, you can send a third-round pick and an Aquara brother, or hell, both of them.
But they were really good. It's like we got to be careful. I caution Lion fan because just because you got the guys, those guys were really good, so they can be part of a rotation coming in off the bench, even though they may start. Romeo would start for Minnesota. You guys would love to have him opposite that.
Especially good injury.
Probably would.
Injury, gotta have that.
Yeah, you can never have enough D linemen. You look at the Buffalo Bills.
Never.
Chicago too. Chicago would love to have Romeo or Charles Harris on their team, as their starting guy. So it's nice to have depth. I mean, none of those guys are J.J. Watt or anything like that, but they're all really good.
Formidable guys,
serviceable.
They're like
there are still free agent moves that could be made as well. I mean, you might see a Quinnen Williams or an Aaron Donald, a Chase Young, something like that, and those could be very valuable pieces in the trademark because it's sexy these days to send players with picks.
I could actually see the Lions going after a receiver since Jameson Winston 6 games, and plus he actually hasn't been looking good at practice.
That's what
I can see him doing it, but it'd have to be a guy. It'd probably be a 1-year deal with a guy that's team friendly. It had to be team friendly, man.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Hey, one thing about DeAndre Hopkins, no matter what team you're on, man, he's putting you in a different stratosphere, man. He's putting your offense on a different level, no matter where you put him.
And that might be what J-Mo needs is somebody to show him how to ball. I
think DeAndre Hopkins more than any receiver. I mean, there's obviously Devontae Adams. These guys are great receivers, but when it comes to 50-50 balls, DeAndre Hopkins is the number one guy in the league, and it's not even a debate. Everyone agrees.
No, he's the best in the league at that.
So what that means is he's never covered. Even when he's covered, you've got a good chance to get the ball to him, and that can make a huge difference for your team. So I would
remember
love
that touchdown snag he made.
I'm crazy. I know a lot of DeAndre Hopkins haters out there don't want him to come to the
Lions. You got Hopkins? I will lock it down that Lions win division. I would lock it down.
Why don't they like him? Because he got a cute
head. There is a downside. I mean, a guy like Hopkins comes with an expectation. Like he may say, "Hey, I need 14 targets," and that's just not what would happen here. He would be the cog and a part of a system. He wouldn't be getting, 15 targets a game.
Because
he
did have a 2-day visit. He had a 2-day visit with Tennessee last week, and then a 2-day visit with the New England Patriots this week. And the rumor is that the New England Patriots are going to really make a push to try to sign DeAndre Hopkins. Now, they've got a good defense over there. They got Mac Jones on offense and Bill Belichick, of course. So I think DeAndre Hopkins going to the Patriots. And look at the division the Patriots are in now with Aaron Rodgers in New York, Josh Allen in Buffalo, and Miami Rise. They're looking at finishing 4th in their division in what could be Bill Belichick's last year. So they definitely do something. And I think DeAndre Hopkins makes a lot of sense for them there.
The latest report on him, they said he's looking for a 1-year, $15 million deal.
Well, then the Lions got to be in the running. Then that's right in our budget. Let's do it, Brad.
Yep. Roy comes in, says there's only one football.
Yeah, but there's only one Lombardi trophy as well.
Right. And so,
damn right.
People hating on Hopkins, Facebook user. We're not hating on Hopkins. We're acknowledging.
No, what they're saying there, Russ, is that I said there are a lot of people out there who hate on Hopkins and don't want to.
Yeah, he can't believe that there are people that hate on him.
And that's absolutely true. You can go on YouTube and look that up. He actually started a fist fight on his own team, and it was all on camera with one of his teammates. He's had a nasty outbursts before at practice. DeAndre Hopkins has. They shipped him out of Houston because of disputes with Bill O'Brien. Oddly enough, now who is the offensive coordinator in New England. So that might kill the transition. That deal for me. So look that up. He's not what Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell have been stocking this Lions team with. So that by virtue of that, there are a lot of Lions fans out there hating on bringing Hopkins in.
If you had an ACL tear, you would probably be a Lions.
Right. You'd already signed the contract if you had an ACL tear.
He'd already be on the table.
Yeah. So thank you for clarifying that. Yeah.
Damn you,
Appreciate
John
that.
Dorn.
Yeah. Oh man.
The
All
Lions
right,
get
are we up
Hopkins. The
against
Lions
everybody?
this
It
year
looks like we're
for
done. Are we
third.
about done? Is this Barry from Scotland?
That's Barry from Scotland. But yeah, we did it again, man. We went 5 minutes over and we just had good football talk, guys. I appreciate having every one of you guys on here and just
No doubt,
chopping
man.
it up a little bit, man.
And Barry, I agree with you 100% that he's been telling us that if they get Hopkins, the Lions would be serious championship players. And I have to agree with that, Barry. Thank you.
Well, now you're getting me all giddy. Now I want him to go out and we got the money. Let's go get it.
Yeah.
But
If he wants 1 year, $15 million. Now I heard that somebody offered him that and he turned it down.
Might not like that team.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, when's the deadline that you actually have to spend your money? Because like Bears, they're over the thing where they got to spend money. You know what I mean?
oh, there's a good comment right there. That I'd like. This is my man right here. Curtis says, "Not interested in Hopkins. I'm more interested in extending our core players." And it really, that's kind of what Brad Holmes' style's been anyway. I believe Jonah Jackson's going to be the next on that chopping block, and they'll extend the left guard.
I suppose you guys start paying some of these guys pretty soon.
Curtis, I appreciate that comment.
Yeah.
But with a 1 year deal, you're not infringing on your ability to extend your core players. It's only a 1 year deal. And you're putting your chips to the center of the table and saying, look, we could contend for a trophy this year. So let's try that. DeAndre Hopkins could be the piece that puts you over the edge.
It could be.
I like it. I like it.
Definitely could.
There's validity to both ends of that because I'd be good with either one. Because you look at guys like Sam Laporta in a training camp who's been having a way better training camp than JMO. They're not even lining this guy up to block. Like they say the transition to tight end is really takes a long time. This guy's going to be a pass catcher. I don't even think they're really. It's Brock Wright's the tight end. Yeah. So Sam Giltra and James Mitchell. So I think that he's just going to be a slot and an outside wide receiver, red zone threat playmaker.
Same way Hawkinson was for you guys. He was more as a receiver than a tight end.
Right.
Hawkinson would catch the ball and fall down. This guy's completely different than that. Like he's more like a George Kittle.
I like him, man. Fuck, when he came in the draft.
I think the Packers offense is going to really, if Jordan, like we said before, if Jordan Love can play just like a good, solid NFL quarterback, then the Packers are going to be tough. If Jordan Love plays great, the Packers could be a very formidable playoff contender.
I think we'll be all right. I think right now this year is pretty much be a scale where we are. You know, play the season out, play your hardest, and let's see if we can get. Hey, if we could win the division, hey, that's a bonus, you know. But we got to see how we contend first. You know what I mean?
Right. Hey, Russ, where can people check out our pages on Facebook?
Oh, we got that. I'm going to go through the gambit right here if you're ready out there because we represent every single team in the NFC North. So we got the Detroit Lions Villain Squad. That's our page right there. We got the NFC North Mane Event. That covers everybody right there. We got Mike the Bear Fan, his page. If you're a Bear fan, you need to go follow that page. Bill the Packer Fan. He's got all of the latest Packer news right there. If you're a Packer fan, go follow Bill the Packer Fan. And Detroit Lions News. Thank you so much, guys, for allowing us to stream into your gigantic page. No, that's a page.
Oh, that's a page.
That's one of the biggest Lions pages that's out there. And I am very, very humbled and thank you for allowing us to stream and be in there. And we're inside of our group, the NFC North Open Mic, as well as our YouTube pages as well.
Main Event 365 on YouTube. Don't forget about that.
That's right.
For Minneapolis, Minnesota, John Dorn and the Maestro Russell Wayne, I am Main Event Mike saying thank you, everybody, for being with us tonight. We'll see you again next Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern. God bless each and every one of you. Peace out.
Go Pack, go.
One pride.